Today, there is something quite literally special lined up. We have assembled the best of the midweight cruisers. The Kawasaki Vulcan S650 has been on the market since 2015, the Honda Rebel 500 since 2017, and the new kid on the block, the Royal Enfield Super Meteor 650, since 2023. We have 3 riders, each an owner of one of these fantastic bikes. Taking turns during the day, we ride each other's machines and share our experiences. Today I'm with my friend Patrick. You have seen Patrick before, he's been on the channel before. He helped me launch one of my first videos, which was the classic 350 versus the Meteor 350. I will put a link in the description here, you can have a look. And thank you, Patrick, for helping me with that. And since then you've started your own channel, right? You have started your own channel. I have indeed, yes. Which is Ancient Biker. I will put a link into the description. Especially your best video that you've done, which is when you traveled from the north of Thailand all the way down to the south. Yeah. And you put your hotel spots all the way down through. Yeah. I thought that was a really good video. Really? And a really good tip for people traveling on a budget.
As you know, I'm sure, you can get a very, very nice place for 500 baht, which is what? About $14, US dollars, something like that.
But I thought it was a really good video. I really did like that video. So you've got the Honda Rebel. Yeah. Scott will introduce in a minute, has got the Vulcan S650, and I've got the Meteor 650. And these are the 3 midweight cruisers. And it's really nice to have them lined up today. And we're all going to have a trial and give our own opinions at the end of the day, right?
That's the idea, I think.
And for all of you helping me out today, I'm going to treat you for dinner. How about
wow.
And again, for those of you who've been watching the channel, you've seen Scott before. With shorter hair, Scott, last time. I think you had a crew cut last time we saw you.
Yeah, and I shaved and it's coming back. So, you know, it's an ongoing thing, off and on, off and on.
So you were very kind to let me test ride your Vulcan S650, which I made a review about, and a comparison against the Meteor and the Vulcan S, which has led us to today, which is to do the comparison with the Meteor 650, Vulcan S650, and Honda Rebel 500, the 3 midweight cruisers. So thank you very much for that.
No problem.
This is your Vulcan S. You've owned it now for 6 months, I believe?
November, yeah, 7.
7 months now, yeah. And you're still liking it?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Because you're quite a tall rider. You're a tall rider for a low seat bike.
No, it's actually pretty comfortable.
It's comfortable for you, right?
Yeah, it is, because it's a nice wide seat, a comfortable seat, and it took me a while to get used to the forward pegs.
Yes.
God.
Patrick's going to struggle today. Yeah, He's going to struggle today, going from a Rebel to mid pegs to forward pegs. Maybe we'll convert him, maybe we don't. How tall are you, by the way?
6'3".
6'3", and you can ride a Vulcan, no problem.
That's with the low seat.
With the low seat, and amazing, amazing. I must admit, I did love this bike. I really did love this bike when I rode it. So this is going to be my second time riding it today, and we're going to ride them all back to back, so we can all have our opinion of our first impressions, if that's okay.
I'm dying to ride this.
Yes.
You know, it sounds really good.
Yes, it sounds good. So these are both liquid cooled and parallel twins, dual overhead cam, 180-degree crank. Mine is slightly different, 270-degree crank, only single overhead cam, and oil cooled. So that's the difference. Now it's time for all 3 of us ancient bikers to head out on the road. We do initially take our own bikes out. And even though it's rainy season in Thailand at the moment, we did escape the rain most of the day, and we had some blue skies, which was really nice. And we're just heading out of Scott's village until we hit some main roads, and then eventually we will swap bikes. This is me and my short legs on my Super Meteor. This is Scott and his long legs on his Vulcan. And here we have Patrick on his Honda Rebel. A really nice day for a leisurely cruise. We're cruising at about 90 to 100 kilometers per hour, but this is where the Vulcan proves its might, because Scott just opens up the throttle and he's gone. He can achieve 140 kilometers per hour in no time. But here I'm surprised about the Rebel, because eventually when we can overtake the lorry, I'm going as fast as I pretty much can on my Super Meteor 650, and I'm struggling to keep up with the Rebel 500. How surprising. Don't underestimate the lighter Rebel. And off camera we eventually swap bikes. I will change to the Kawasaki Vulcan, Scott will change to the Honda Rebel with his long legs, and Patrick takes my Super Meteor 650. This is my second time riding the Vulcan 650, and to be honest, this is the bike that caused me to change my rear suspension on my Meteor 650, because I just couldn't believe the quality of a monoshock and the poor quality of the Meteor 650's dual shock. I eventually changed them to aftermarket shocks, and I'm so pleased that I did, because now this is my second ride on the Vulcan. I actually think that I've cured my comfort problem, and I'm finding that my Meteor 650, which is Patrick is riding now, is as comfortable as the Vulcan. I think at long last I've cured my comfort issues. And here is Scott looking a little bit squashed on the Rebel. And everything I thought about the Vulcan on my first ride is all coming back to me. It's a very comfortable ride, it's a very powerful ride for a 650, but it just lacks that traditional cruiser feel, probably because it's got a high revving racing bike engine installed. And one thing that's really standing out to me today is how clunky and how noisy the chain drive is. After coming from my belt drive to this, I didn't notice it as bad as this last time. I will check the chain when we stop. Now it's time to stop and have a quick chat about the bikes before we change over and head off again. And it's time to duck those storms that are brewing ahead. Well, first stop, coffee shop. Rude not to stop at a coffee shop in Thailand. We've all had our first bike exchange. So we'll start with Patrick. You rode the Meteor 650. How did you find that?
I liked it. I liked it a lot. I was most surprised by the fact that, okay, for me, any bike with forward controls is unusual, because I've hardly ever ridden one. So that was for a few seconds, not very long. It needed to get used to a little bit.
Yeah.
But the main thing that surprised me, having looked at the bike, which is very beautiful, I think, I expected it to be a very low seat, similar to my Rebel, or similar to the classic 350, which I had before. But actually, you see, it feels like you're sitting quite high.
Yes.
Compared with both those bikes.
The Rebel, 27.6 inches, 690 millimeters. The Vulcan, 27.8 inches, or 705 millimeters, and mine, 29 inches, or 740 millimeters.
Okay, it's only a couple of inches, but it feels different.
It's wider, right?
Yeah,
it's wider, so your legs can't go straight down. And this is what the biggest criticism I had on the Meteor, because when I had my Meteor 350, that was a higher seat height. It was 765 millimeters, but I could flat foot the bike. On this bike, I couldn't flat foot it, and it's 25 millimeters lower than my Meteor 350. Which is why I've changed the shocks on mine, and now it's 20 millimeters lower. So it's better for me like it is, but it is still a tall seat. It is.
Well, I mean, obviously you get used to that. It's what you're used to, because obviously the Rebel and the Classic 350 are both very low bikes compared with regular bikes. Just the actual position when you're riding that I noticed, sitting up higher.
Which some people prefer, because then you can look over.
Look
over traffic, look over hedges and things.
I was expecting to be much more like my low Rebel position. It's a very elastic motor, so you can cruise along at a low speed in 5th or 6th gear, and it doesn't mind. It's very what's the word, forgiving.
Okay.
in terms of gear change, whereas the Rebel doesn't like going too low, too slow in a higher gear.
This is what I found on the Vulcan.
And it chugs along. It chugs if you go.
If I go under 3,500 RPM on the Vulcan, the handlebars are chugging.
Yeah.
It doesn't like to go. It doesn't like to go under 3,500 RPM, and we've got a problem with your chain, Scott. It is far too slack. So I've gone from a very smooth belt drive to a chain, and not only is it clunky, it is ultra clunky because your chain is so slack.
I don't notice it because I just go so fast it don't matter.
That's probably why it's so slack. So we'll have a look at that when we get back to your house. I have actually got my tools on my bike today. CC wise, yours is
500.
Only 471 cc. Yeah, it's not a 500.
Still bigger than the 350.
50, yeah, and obviously you got
a lot more power.
So going back to that video that we did, the classic 350 Meteor 350, we both said, if you want a more powerful bike, go and get a more powerful bike. And we both did in the end, right? We both went out and got a more powerful bike. Yeah. I think we become accustomed to riding bikes in Thailand and just needed that extra bit of power for overtaking, which is safer, right? Do you feel safer on a more powerful bike?
I definitely, even though I don't normally cruise much more than about 100, that was the top. That was the top on my classic.
Chen.
Cheers.
Cheers, yeah. Cheers.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you.
Cheers. No, it was interesting. No, I mean, I loved the classic. It was a lovely bike.
Yes. I'm so surprised that you sold it. I was so shocked.
Well, it's just I felt, especially on that long trip south, that, and especially going on highways, which of course are not the nicest roads to ride on, that it would be nice to have that much more power when you're cruising, even to cruise at 120 rather than 95 or whatever it was on the classic.
Yeah. Right, Scott, you're a very tall rider, 6'3", did you say?
Yeah.
How did you find the Rebel at 6'3"?
It was actually comfortable.
Was?
It was.
Wow.
Yeah, and the way the handlebars come up and then come right down.
Yeah.
I really like that.
Those are aftermarket handlebars on that, and it does make a difference. It really does. Are you a mid-peg man or a forward peg man? Yeah. I think once you're sold on forward, it's difficult to go back.
But I think it depends on the height of the seat.
Yeah.
My Honda at the house is a little bit higher than his, and those center controls are fine.
Okay.
His, since it's lower, and then it's...
You're cramped up because you're
I kept on looking down to see if my feet were...
Yeah. So that's...
But other than that,
the Rebel is really designed for short riders, I think.
It was very stable for a small frame bike.
Yeah. So I have a confession. I owned a Rebel for a year and I loved it. I absolutely loved that bike. I only sold it because of the pandemic, and I had 3 motorbikes sat in the garage that I never used for a whole year.
You still got that 96 Honda? Huh?
Yeah, I still got that 86 Honda.
86?
Yeah, 86. I just had to sell some bikes and I was left with the old one. But I really shouldn't have sold that Rebel 500 because I absolutely loved it. I did absolutely love it. But I'm saying that if I had kept it, I wouldn't have discovered Royal Enfield. And in a way, I'm kind of glad that I did discover Royal Enfield. Right, so we're all changed again. Patrick is on the Kawasaki. First time on a Kawasaki? Yep. Scott, first time on a Royal Enfield Meteor?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, okay. So we're going to stop at that 7-Eleven again, are we?
Just before. Well, we can do it after the turn.
Yeah.
Then stop.
Okay, can stop at that PTT garage then?
Yeah, a little further down,
Yeah, okay.
Or the Honda dealership.
My ignition key is down here. The free amigos. Oh, mid pegs. roads, wet roads.
The roads soon dried out, and here I am riding the Rebel, the first time I've ridden a Rebel in over 3 years. And wow, there is something to be said about the lightness and agility of the Honda Rebel. Scott is looking well at home on the Super Meteor 650 and less cramped, and Patrick is looking really good on the Kawasaki Vulcan. And I really don't like the look of these 1970 style aftermarket handlebars, but boy are they so comfortable. It's been a really interesting day riding all these bikes back to back. One more stop and we're gonna get our original bikes back. To be honest, there is no clear winner today, absolutely no clear winner. It all depends on your personal circumstances and what your personal needs are. Do you need a lightweight, economical bike? Then that's going to be the Rebel 500. Do you need something bigger for a taller rider? That's going to be a cross between the Super Meteor 650 and the Vulcan S 650. And the Vulcan S is going to be if you want the faster bike, the higher revving bike, or the Super Meteor, lower revving, more cruiser style. The choice is yours.
This is a nice, smooth riding bike. Okay. Now we go and get something.
Yes. But we still have to follow you because we don't know where it is.
And now I understand completely what Patrick was saying. My Meteor 650 feels such a higher riding position after riding the Rebel 500. We're heading to the restaurant, it's my shout, and we're just going to have one more small discussion about the bikes and the day.
Right, cheers gentlemen, thank you for today.
Cheers, cheers. Great day. Great day.
Great day, yes.
A little bit of rain, but we were trying, it stopped, everything dried up.
It was good, and it was good to ride all three bikes back to back. I found that very interesting. The last time I rode your bike, I found it much more comfortable than mine, but since then, I've altered my shocks, I've altered a few other little things, and now I seem to think my bike is nearly as comfortable as yours now, to be honest.
Yours is really nice.
Patrick, which bike did you like the best today?
Yours.
You did?
Yeah, I did.
Really?
Yeah. Why you sound so surprised? No, it's the best looking bike for sure, no doubt about that, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's the belt or what reason, but it's very smooth.
Yeah, and for me today, it was so unusual to go back to a lighter bike. So your bike is lighter, but your bike's so much lighter. And I do miss a light bike, a light, low bike. I definitely miss it.
Yeah, easy to handle, yeah.
Yeah, so much easier to handle and so much more relaxing, knowing that you can put your foot down quickly if you need to. And I didn't realise how high my bike was until you get back on it again after riding low bikes, you know? So, an interesting day, a very interesting day.
Yeah, the view is definitely very special.
Here is
And then pan around with the field out there.
here is a picture of the ancient bike.
And pan around with that. That's even nicer view.
Nice of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's time for Teacher T and the Ancient Bikers to sign out A very big thank you to Scott and Patrick for helping me on this day. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give us a like. If you own one of these bikes, please comment. Please let others know what you think about these bikes. And until next time, ride safe, and Teacher T will see you on a video soon.